Welcome back to Unpaid Movie Critics. I am your unpaid movie critic, and let me tell you, I am so unpaid, it's ridiculous. And the lovely lady to my Zoom call, the woman who invented 7 new kinds of jelly flavors over the pandemic, Miss Becky Fixel.
It might be about 7. Have you tried any of the weird flavors? Like, are you just...
No one sends me anything.
Well, I'm afraid to send glass. That's why I don't send honey too, because that stuff will eke out and get everything sticky and gross. And I don't want to send a box of yuck. So, but I don't want to pay the cost of shipping glass, but also the cost.
It's expensive.
It is. And then if they break and there's jelly all over everything, that'd just be gross. So
sometimes it's not.
Well, I know, but like the watermelon rind jelly that I made, so good.
I don't even know how to respond to that. So
it's so good. And then tomatillo lemon jelly.
Ooh.
Right.
I was actually just making that up. So ironic that you actually did.
I did. I have so many weird jellies this year that I was like, I don't know what to do with all the shit I'm growing. Like this year, the garden went insane. So, what else do you do with 200 pounds of tomatoes and about 50 pounds of peppers and
juggle,
yes. So, but maybe if you ever come back to Detroit, I will send some home with you.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but
maybe I can deliver
never say never
in Kentucky.
There you go.
See, that'll work.
So today we have a couple different movies. I forgot what I think was our personal cult classics from the 90s, I believe it was, correct?
You said cult classics from the 90s. You didn't say personal.
But I think both of Mallrats was Becky's pick, and we'll go to that first because let's just dive that one in.
Okay, so yeah, you're gonna make fun of it, but for the man who likes time capsule movies, this movie is like the epitome of a time capsule. Like the clothing, the humor, all of it. I mean, it's Kevin Smith, so it's always going to be a little weird and dry and stuff like that. But if you look at the fashions they're wearing, that's the same shit you see on the shelves and the racks at Target right now. It's disgusting and weird. So seeing that stuff just come back, but it's a movie that just makes me laugh a lot. I know it's
rewatching. I liked it when I first saw it, and that's many, many moons ago when I was 7. But watching it now, actually, it was almost painful to sit through.
Really?
Yeah, it was very difficult for me. And I'll tell you, it was because I really saw the difference between how badly it was overwritten.
Okay, but it
to
was
a point.
What film was that for Kevin Smith? I mean,
it was
all
number
of his,
2.
Okay, so very early in his career, but I'm sorry, the cats are slamming the door to try to get in. But it's also very, it's very much his style. Like all of his films kind of have that. It's like nail on the head jokes,
Well, it wasn't even that. Okay, so it was more like there were some really good actors in this movie. Shannon Doherty, I think, is actually a very good actress.
This is probably the only role I like her in. I'm not a huge fan of hers. So, and like
she was really good.
She was. And like I said before, I think this is the role that kind of gives me the idea of Ben Affleck in my mind. And I'm not a huge fan of his. And he plays as just total asshole in this movie.
Right. Pasty, very, very pasty.
Right. So I'm not sure if that's where that comes from, but it's probably one of the earlier films I was introduced to him in.
Well, here's what I thought was really, first off, there was so much dialogue that it reminded me of watching Gilmore Girls and anything that Amy Sherman Palladino writes, because everyone talks the same. And for her work, like you watch Miss Maisel, which is one of my favorite shows, I think it really works because she creates a world. She says, this is this world. Everyone speaks in this world and this language, and it's super fast, kind of like, and everyone does it. There's not one character in her shows that do not speak like that. Even in Gilmore Girls, Dean actually was doing that with Rory, and you just have to go with it. And Kevin Smith in this role, it was like he would launch into that and they'd go out of it. Those characters, those actors are trained in her shows. They basically have classes, I think, to show them how to speak her dialogue. And there's
How to
very
talk as
specific.
fast as she wants them to. Interesting.
Here, it was like there was a whole segment where Shannon Doherty was yelling at Jason Lee, and I'm like, I didn't understand a damn thing she said.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, I don't understand. Jeremy London would spout things off that he had no idea what he was saying. And it happened a lot in this movie, and it was almost like, wow, it was jarring. And I was like, you can tell the actors had no idea a lot of the things that they were saying. And I think that was the problem, because the plot wise, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, but you have to
thought it was
also
fun.
realize a lot of them, they're still earlier in their careers at this point too. A lot of them weren't
Yeah.
super established yet. I mean, Shannon Doherty,
But-
yes.
But if you're an actor and you're cast in this role,
You
there's
should know
a
what you're doing.
fail. There's a fail. There's somewhere there is a failure. And
But
I
it's-
think that was part of the reason why the movie got criticized so badly. And there is some parts where it was just like, why is this person in it? Like the security guard had no emotion. Like, why is he so scary? He was just blank.
Yeah.
LaForest. I was like, literally, he's not scary. And then the 15-year-old thing was kind of creepy
You know, that
from this
one,
lens. From this lens
yes.
now.
in this lens now.
Back then, it was
creepy.
still a little bit like,
And then showing
now
the
I just
video.
went, oh Lord.
Did you? Well, I know, right? Because both of us could have a 15-year-old at this point, but showing that video up there, yes, that would
Mhm.
take him down, but isn't that also a crime showing that publicly?
Yeah, all of it. Well, okay, so here it is. So how many people did she have sex with?
It was 70 something at that point. And her
Right.
parents are fine
She's
with
15.
it.
Her parents were fine with it. And she wrote a book.
Yeah.
It was, and it goes into this whole thing. Okay, so her parents are fine with it. She's 15. It was semi-consensual because it wasn't like she did it. It's not consensual because she's not of age. No publisher would touch this book.
And she's also not telling her real age, is my guess. Because
I'm assuming because he didn't know.
well, I mean, even if he did, he was a skis ball, so he'd lie about it. But
Right. I mean, like, I was just like randomly going through my brain, like, what is the implications? What are we talking about in watching it now? And who the fuck would write that into a movie? It was
Well-
just like all of it, right?
again, it was still early in Kevin Smith's career. But then, I mean, if you look at Dogma, there's still other weird shit that comes through. It's
Literally weird shit.
literally, yes. So, but I will say, we do have the things like Stanley's first real big cameo in it. And also the tie back to Captain Marvel when he's on the bus reading the Mallrats script, so there's
Right.
that kind of thing nod, which is kind of cool. But, it's one of those, it's definitely not a thinker movie. Then again, neither is Your Choice. I will say that hands down, but it still has its funny moments. And when you go through, I mean, look at the store names alone, though, just
Right.
the little jokes all the way through it. And is that the same mall they used in Stranger Things?
No.
Because it looks like it, but
This mall was, I actually looked it up. It's still in existence. It's still operational, and it's still doing well. They remodeled it completely, but someone actually went to visit the filming locations. The only thing that was recognizable was when Jay and Silent Bob run down the side of the building and they turn into the little shipping enclave. That looks exactly the same. Everything
yeah,
else
they're
is
not gonna change that.
unrecognizable. Yeah, everything else is unrecognizable.
okay.
Over the years, but it's kind of fun to see that it's still thriving. The Stranger
Yeah.
Things mall is pretty much out of business.
Well, most malls, I mean, even here, I want to say there's 3, maybe 4 in the whole Metro Detroit area that's still open.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's oddly the one really close to me is, and I don't know why. But, of course, like Somerset with all the fancy stores we can't afford,
Yeah.
that one is. But yeah,
Because we're unpaid movie critics.
correct.
Damn it.
I know.
Sponsored in part by 7-Eleven.
once
When
you
you're
get
poor
up to
and you
date.
want a Slurpee, go to 7-Eleven. It's $1.99. Maybe you can afford it. Maybe you can't. Who the fuck knows?
We can actually run ads on here, which we might end up doing eventually, but they'll give us a real script, not just what's in Mike's cup.
That
So,
should be a whole segment. What's in Mike's cup?
I know. Although I saw Mike posted a Billy story to his site today.
I did. Billy got a photo fail with Jessica Chastain, which I mean, he's
Oh.
met her 5 million times because he's stupid. No, I love Billy. He's coming over this weekend, and he actually just called me right before this. I didn't pick up. He's like, "Oh, I'm Billy," but Billy's famous for his photo flops. Because he had a camera. I don't know if he has a phone camera now, but it's like, yes, he had to always go, "It's double flash, it's double flash," and
So what?
because people would turn after the first flash because it would blind them.
Well,
It was
okay.
actually funny.
A good photographer knows how to do those photos without flash. Let's just put it that way. Because my picture with
It's
Jessica Chastain
Billy,
is not blurry and whatever.
and she's adorable, FYI.
She's very sweet.
But okay, going back to Mallrats for a second.
Sorry.
I also still, honestly, is it Jason London or I can't remember. Jeremy. He is so terrible. It's almost like he tried to be awful. Like, how in the world was he this bad? And then Claire Forlani the same way. She was like, I'm trying to be Kristen Stewart, even though Kristen Stewart doesn't exist yet. And really, I'm like, oh my God, I wanted the stage to literally collapse in on themselves and kill them all.
Okay, but I will say that whole scene, the whole shooting something in the mall, the whole mall culture is so very freaking 90s.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, as a teen, get dropped off at the mall, whatever. Now you have to force me to go into a mall. But kids now don't want to go and walk around the mall and go shopping and just go browsing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's Santa and Easter Bunny still in the mall. They still do that crazy ass shit. But could you imagine like kids today just hanging out in the mall or them shooting reality TV in the mall?
No,
it just, it's very much, that's why it surprises me you don't like it so much. I mean, I understand, the dialogue and everything's another issue, but this one is definitely a pocket of time.
Oh, it's completely a pocket of time. There's a lot of it I liked. Like, I'm not saying I didn't. I thought Jason Lee for his first movie ever was brilliant.
Yeah.
He popped, and even Joy Lauren Adams, I thought did a great job with a nothing
I really like
role.
her. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know what she's been doing lately.
Well, if you look her up lately, you'll understand something. But I just watching it, and it's like the female characters are underwritten.
That's normal for Hollywood. They're getting better. They're getting better. But most women in movies are not fully formed humans. They're there to move a plot along.
Yeah, I mean, Claire Forlani literally had no character. She was just there to be like, no, I thought the guy's name, JC. I blocked him out of my brain like that exists.
Yes.
BS, whatever this fucking name
is. Not BS.
PS, BS, BT. Just please drink the can of bleach and be done.
We're not talking about Heathers.
God, I wish. If we did, life would be a whole great experience. I almost rewatched it again, but there's so many quotable lines in that movie.
I know.
I mean, kill me with a chainsaw. Okay, my teen angst bullshit has a body count. It's amazing. That movie's amazing.
It is, absolutely.
But I really was disappointed. I didn't think I would have this kind of reaction when I saw it again. And I really did. I had a very strong reaction to disliking it. And I didn't dislike it before.
I'm shocked.
I didn't dislike it. I was really almost like, the whole time I looked at the budget, I'm like, how did this movie cost $6 million? It looks like it was run with 2 pulley wires and I mean, like a Blair Witch
style filming.
Yeah, it was so painful to see. And I mean, and I liked Clerks.
You love Clerks?
I liked Clerks. I thought Clerks was great.
See, and the first one, well, I have a issue.
There's only one.
Okay. The first one I dislike
Mm-mm.
slightly.
There's only one.
Anyway, people can check that out on IMDb. I'm sure they'll find you wrong there, sir.
No, they won't, because if they're actual real humans, they'll understand there's only one.
Okay, well, Clerks, I have an issue with because the contrast of the black and white, and if you are light sensitive, I
Mm.
can't really watch it too long. It hurts my eyes to watch Clerks.
Well, they did it because they didn't have any money.
Well, I know, and I know that, but I have issues watching that movie just because it hurts my eyes and it's black and white. And it's not even, I think it's just overexposed in black and white. It's not even fully like it's not color graded well, I
Oh
guess.
no.
But first movie, I kind of get it. So, you know.
I mean, and you look at someone, you're like, okay, it's a second movie. This felt like a first draft of the screenplay. Like, did he not edit it himself? Did he not have someone read it and go, you know what, this is stupid?
Okay, but how much how heavily into drugs were they at that point too?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, I'm sure, but I don't give that as an excuse for a film. You can,
Well,
your script should be pitch point perfect.
I agree.
This was not. I mean, it was just honestly like it was really badly written. I was like, wow. When you have every character that sounds the same, that's like screenplay 101. I just was very upset by it. I mean, Shannon Doherty had that whole speech in the elevator, and she tried really hard.
Yeah.
You could see it, and she did a good job with a very limited character. Um, but it was almost like every character Kevin Smith wrote that was a female was a shrew.
Yeah.
There was literally no good. I mean, and you had Joy Lauren Adams who did a good job, but her character was still deemed as a bitch who dumped BS. And then, you had Shannon Doherty's character who was, oh, she's a shrew because I'm playing my video games and I'm a comic book guy and it was so cool. And then you had the 15-year-old whore,
Mm-hmm.
and Claire Forlani, who had the personality of wallpaper paste. And why would, and she still was the bad guy for helping her dad. I'm like, that's logical.
Well, okay, helping her dad, yes. Breaking up with him because daddy said so at that age, if you're old enough to agree to get married,
I don't think she broke up with him because his dad said so. I think she broke up with him because he would act like such a dick.
Well, there is that, but also that shows how mature they were, and they shouldn't have been getting married anyhow. Because neither of them could have none of them could have a conversation with each other with the issues in their relationships. But
I mean, literally, that show was happening. Okay, the show is happening that day. All you had to do is suspend your fucking trip by 24 hours. Calm the fuck down, Slappo.
right. Although them blaming him because the other girl drowned, ridiculous and stupid.
That was wildly dumb, but whatever.
Although that one, I believe that story carries through to some of the other movies too.
Yeah.
It's one of those insider type things that just keeps traveling through.
Right. I mean, but whatever.
Yeah. So speaking of drug use, let's move on to your movie.
Yeah.
Because Mike chose 1991 Soap Dish. My question in this and the drug use thing, this is an earlier role for Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, who he looked great, had great hair.
He did. He absolutely did. But wasn't this during his drug point?
It was right before.
Okay, so that's why.
It was before.
I'm wondering when his addiction started because I was like, he looks too damn good.
He looks. I was when I rewatched. I was like, everyone looks amazing. I was like, Sally Field looked like. I was like, wow. In comparison, I didn't realize it'd been that long, but 20 years, I guess.
And the cast in here, I mean, it has Carrie Fisher.
Oh my God.
Goldberg. It has a ton of people, and
you have 3 Oscar. Wait, I'm not sure. Robert Downey Jr. didn't win, I don't think, right?
I don't know.
Well, Sally Field and Whoopi won for sure. Then I know Robert was nominated. I know Elizabeth Shue was nominated for an Oscar. I think Kevin Kline was
movie?
At some point. No, and just in general.
Okay.
But if you think about like a casting wise, if you had all these people, I'm going to go on a limb and say Kevin Kline was nominated at one point. But that's 3 Oscar nominees, 2 Oscar winners in the main cast. That's a great cast. And then
And
you
I mean,
also had,
I like
Catherine
Kathy
Moriarty
Moriarty.
was amazing.
I mean, I like her. I think I first, and I mean, this will show my age. I first was introduced to her in Casper.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in that.
Yeah. So, I don't know a ton of movies she's in, but every time she's there, I know who she is. So,
Mhm.
but it was like turning on a soap opera, watching it with my grandmother in the 90s.
This movie, well, it is. That's the whole point. It's funnier. It's a soap opera
Yeah.
front and back.
And
And I
showing that
thought,
life is just as bizarre as soap operas.
yeah, and I thought they did a really good job. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was grounded in some level. And I think rewatching it again, I thought it definitely, to me, it held up.
It's totally a fluff movie. And a friend of
Yeah,
mine is like, she's down this week with COVID.
she's down this week with COVID. She's
Yeah,
down
she's
this week with COVID.
fully vaccinated and got it
She caught it.
helping a friend by babysitting. So yeah. So I told her, I'm like, you don't have to focus, you don't have to think. This is a decent movie. It's on Hulu and
It's
people,
easy.
yeah. I'm like, it's there, it's free. It's got people you'll recognize.
Hmm.
And she loves watching like Matlock and Saved by the Bell and all that. Like that's all she still watches. So I'm like, it's like the perfect time frame for you anyhow. So, you
There
know,
you go.
I found it, I mean, it was an interesting movie. It was funny. I don't know if that is one that I would ever pull up again. It's,
Hmm.
but it was funny and it was cute. So
I enjoyed it because
you like your
I
90s,
I I like my '90s movies. I like that they took a chance on something different.
right?
This movie was never done the same or different since.
Right.
I really liked that, and I thought it was hilarious. They added some stuff that it was way better and way funnier than it needed to be, and I thought it was really well done. Like you look at it and you're like, each of these characters has their character.
Right.
I thought everyone did a great job. Elizabeth Shue had a very difficult job. Her
Yes.
her 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 transition, and I thought rewatching, I'm like, it was a little rushed at the end when she became the maniacal bitch, but then again, not really, because you put these cameras on someone and all of a sudden you give them power when they had no power, and all of a sudden she's
Right.
in the show and boom, people all of a sudden become assholes.
The only thing I wish they kind of did a nod to in this one was like, because Sally Field's character keeps winning awards. I
Hmm.
wish they would have just kind of played it off like the Susan Lucci thing. She was nominated 19 times and never won.
Yeah.
I was hoping for that, just a little bit more of a nod towards like some of the greats, I say with air quotes, of
Yeah,
soap opera.
of daytime TV. That'd been funny actually if she didn't win in the beginning and then won at the end.
Right. After she gets her life together, sort of,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, I'm surprised at how well she kind of played that leading lady and the crazy soap opera lady.
And she did great with comedy. I mean, she's known for drama.
Yeah.
And Sally Field has only done a few comedies. I mean, you look at Murphy's Romance, you look at Punchline, Legally Blonde 2, but her comedy, and a lot of times it's really tough to bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But she did a great job. And Meryl Streep is not good at comedy. Like there are only a few movies that she actually nailed the comedy. I mean, She Devil's unwatchable. Death Becomes Her brilliance. Like
I
that's
love
the one movie she did a great job.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think her comedies are very good at all. Like Mamma Mia is an embarrassment. Uh
That's a guilty pleasure movie. I mean, it doesn't have
there's
to
no
be good.
guilt. It's no pleasure. It's but you look at something like Soap Dish and you're just like, wow, that's like a little fun. It's just a fun movie to put on. It's like Legally Blonde in some level, where you put it on and it puts you in a funny little mood. Like, oh look, that's hilarious.
How well did this do at the box office though? Because
It
I mean, I was too young for it when it came out.
right.
So I don't, it's like in that long list of movies that I never heard of this one. So, there's a lot of movies from that time frame, even older ones that I've gone back and I've watched now.
Yeah.
But Like this one, I had never heard of, and
I think it did okay. I mean, I don't think it was
okay.
a hit. I think it did okay. If this was movie made was movie this movie was made now with appropriate cast that would be in comparison to who's on there now, it would cost a fortune.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think back then it did because people didn't charge as much and it wasn't as no one was, it just didn't you could do a movie like this in a lower budget.
Well, and
You
knowing
know,
how much Robert Downey Jr. Made on the first Iron Man movie,
yeah.
later, what he made on this, like, I mean, he was coming out of the addiction and all that for Iron Man. He was clean at that point, but
Right.
still,
Robert Downey Jr., people do forget back in the day, he had some really great roles that were extremely diverse. There was, besides Soap Dish, which again, it was funny when I had him sign it, Less Than Zero,
yeah,
Chaplin. He had, and Heart and Souls. I don't know if you saw Heart and Souls,
I
but
don't think so.
it was also another 90s comedy that with Elizabeth Shue, ironically, that is really well done. It's really funny and has a surprising amount of heart. He and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I mean, like he did a lot of really good films, and only people remember Iron Man right now, which I get.
Right.
It's tough. It's really tough. Even Only You
Yeah.
was great. Chances are, I really enjoyed that.
But
There
he's
was a lot of really fun. His comedies of the 90s and 80s were really, really fun.
and then he disappeared for a bit, and then I came back and everybody knows him as Iron Man, and that's all he'll be for the rest of his career, I'm sure. Well, maybe not. That's what he'll be known as.
I think that's his role. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have their role. I think if you look at actors, they have their signature role. And you look at Meryl Streep, her signature role is Deborah Wars Prada.
Right. Which I
I'm
love
sure
that movie.
I love that. Who doesn't love that movie? That's another movie you can watch anytime. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. You have, Sally Field, I think would be Norma Ray if you're going to pick it for her.
Right.
These people have their signature. Sylvester Stallone will always be Rocky.
Yep.
I mean, you can say Rambo in some level, but you're going to say Rocky.
Especially if you've seen the last one.
I did not, but
that was very rough. I took my parents to that one.
yeah, I mean, like, look, Arnold. Who will Arnold always be?
Terminator. Yeah.
Terminator. I mean, yeah, you love Predator. Yeah, you love Kindergarten Cop, but it's going to be Terminator.
Right.
And that's their signature role.
Yeah. And I think them gambling on at that point, Robert Downey Jr. to bring him in as Iron Man. I mean, that role was written that it's him,
It was him.
It was him, but he did it so well.
Dude, so well. Well, Terrence Howard was the one that really pushed for him.
Right.
And then which because their rift.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting when you hear about it. You're like, so Terrence Howard pushed Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was like, no, I want more money. Jon Favreau underwrote Brody in the second Iron Man. And then they were like, well, why am I paying Terrence Howard so much?
Yeah.
So they fired him because he wouldn't take a pay cut.
Well, and he was angry because Robert Downey Jr. was making more in the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real, who's the star? Who's the main character?
You don't even need that character. That character, War Machine never got interesting. No offense to Don Cheadle.
They haven't done enough to make it worth the difference. And I understand in the first movie, the sort of, I mean, those numbers are just astronomical to me and probably to you as an income, and just for a few months of your life. I understand Robert Downey Jr. not making as much in the first one because
they also took a chance. Like,
he was a big gamble at that point. But after that, he absolutely had every right to demand more. So
because the movie was brilliant.
Right.
Jon Favreau did a really great job creating that role for him. And you can't argue with it. It's literally
for him.
It launched not only Iron Man, it launched every MCU film from then on.
Because I mean, there are the ones from before that, like the Hulks before that, or Blade and all of that, but those aren't anywhere near, like, people will
No,
watch them, but they're nowhere near like what the MCU is now. Granted, have you guys gone and seen the Eternals yet?
have not seen it. I was supposed to see it this weekend and I canceled. So I'm going to wait.
Okay.
I hear mixed. Some people love it. Other people, my other friend was like, he got a free ticket and he said it was cost more than the free ticket to see him. They said they should have paid him to see it.
I mean, it's really freaking long, like everything else that comes out right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. And I mean, they talk
Okay.
about Iron Man, they talk about the snap and all of that, but I think if it was a standalone sci-fi film, it might do
Hmm.
better. And they are trying to introduce characters all the way up to the second end credit scene. Like, it's new character, new character, new character, and the only reason I remember any of their names is because they're the same as the Greek gods.
Right.
So,
And
and
a
the
lot of people are only in it for like 5 minutes, right?
right, right.
Like, I mean, Angelina is not in it very long. Is that correct?
She's in it. She comes and goes.
Hmm.
But like, if you look at the poster, she's up front and in the center. You would expect her to be the main character. She's
Yeah, because
hardly
it's Angelina Jolie.
right.
And look, you
She's
say what you
gorgeous.
want. Some people hate her. I love Angie. Like, I think no matter, she's one of those actresses that no matter what she does, she's inherently watchable.
Yes.
And that's rare because, there are other people who are just like, they could be there or not there.
Right.
My friend loves Selma Hayek, but again, she's not Angelina Jolie. She's just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, I
And
enjoy her.
I mean, in this role that she is taking it,
Uh,
sort of looping back to Kevin Smith movies and Dogma, besides, the whole Stanley Mallrats
right.
technically being MCU, whatever, with air quotes, Selma
No,
Hayek,
it is not technically MCU. Please stop.
according to the fandom people. But anyway,
No, no.
hush your mouth a minute. The fact that she's already playing a muse, which is part of Greek culture. And then in this one, she's playing Ajax, which is another character in Greek culture. And she's playing the same character she's played before. So
Yeah.
not that exact character, but like in other movies. So, it's interesting. I won't say it's one of my favorites, but we're at the very beginning of the next phase, phase 4. So who knows what they're going to do with it.
That's you're only one bad movie away from killing a franchise.
Yeah. And they've got however many 20 some in this one already, plus all the
It's
offshoot shows and everything else. Like, they just announced
Yeah,
that
it
Agatha
feels.
show on Disney Plus.
Oh God, does she need a show?
Apparently.
No, she
Anyway.
doesn't need a show. That's the problem. Hawkeye. I give Hawkeye a pass. I'm like, fine. At least he's an original Avenger.
Right.
The most boring Avenger.
I think
Okay, no, he is the most boring. He has arrows.
okay. But who refills that quill all the time? Because it gets full all the time.
No one. That was the joke on SNL. He's like, boom, boom. I'm out of arrows, guys. So
Right.
cool. Like, it's hilarious. I mean, I like that they admitted that was a joke, but like,
It's comical physics shit.
it's comical. Look, if you're really gonna break it all down, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
stop. But you know, it Marvel is a unique thing, but just what I've been hearing about the Eternals, I'm wondering if this is the worst Marvel movie from this, section of MCU films, how it's gonna affect the other films. Because let me tell you, I didn't love Doctor Strange. I
Oh,
didn't love Ant-Man.
I love both of those. But I like
I like the characters in a whole. Like,
yeah.
they're fine, but I don't need to see another Ant-Man movie.
Well,
I don't
no.
really care.
But see, and I mean, bless Paul Rudd, but I love those one-off weird characters. I like that,
Yeah,
that it's, these little side stories, but they add to the main one. With
right.
this,
I
it's
mean,
so I went into Eternals with some hope because I was like, okay, maybe it'll be like that, you know? Maybe it'll be Shang-Chi, which was fantastic. But it was kind of like, wow. It was, you know, and then Rotten Tomatoes tanked it before it even came out.
Right.
So,
Well, that is also an interesting thing. Like, so you have Rotten Tomatoes, and
yep,
I know I'm talking to a member of the prestigious Detroit Film Critics Association.
society.
So whatever. I mean, when you're talking to someone from the Detroit Critics Association, you have to give them the reverence and due respect that they deserve. It's like I feel like I should bow, tip a hat.
Yes, you don't. I mean, come
I
on.
don't. I don't.
There's no
I really
love.
don't. Oh, there's love.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but it's okay. So first off, Rotten Tomatoes is interesting because it's an amalgamation, but I know personally people that have written bad reviews and Rotten Tomatoes scored it as a positive. And I was like, fix it. you know. But it's kind of funny how they score. Like,
Right. And I am waiting to hear back from them. So I have friends that are Rotten Tomatoes. You know, I have applied.
me too, but that's not because of the critics.
Well, yes, but I have applied to anyway. So Soap Dish is available everywhere to find right now that you can
Yeah, it's
watch.
on Hulu. So honestly, if you're interested in a fun little uh
Fluff.
fluff film, it's really it's a fun little view, and I do think people should check it out because it didn't get the love that it deserved, and I think it was one of those little under the bubble kind of films that need to get a little audience. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's really really cute, and I think it doesn't really, there's nothing in it that makes it scream dated because there's still soap operas and there's still that
Right.
kind of stuff
And they
happening.
still do the overacting. And there's, I mean, yeah, it's soap operas and all that, but it's nothing too salacious that you could have it running and your kids could be running around watching. You know,
Mm-mm.
there's nothing, not really even cursing that I noticed.
No, it's very clean. Honestly, it's very family
Yeah.
friendly.
Just,
In
you know,
general, unlike Mallrats, when she
oh, yeah.
why does Priscilla Barnes eat her nipple? I never understood. She pops her third nipple off and then eats it.
I don't know. And trying underwear on in the middle of a store. And yeah, some of that stuff I don't get. I mean, at least
But
you bought them,
again,
but ew.
it did feel like okay. It just again, it all felt like a man writing women who doesn't know women.
Yep. But,
And that really, it was more jarring to me this time. Honestly, watching it Mallrats again, that's what I picked up.
but
And it
I
was
want to
so
say,
noticeable. It was so noticeable.
what is it? Is it the Bechdel test for movies? It would not pass. Do you know what
No,
that is?
no, but I'm sure it wouldn't.
What year did that come out? I think it's newly. It's the Bechdel test for movies, measure of representation of women in fiction, and asking whether a work features at least two women who talk to each other about something other than guys. So actually
Hmm.
developing and not just there for, you know, oh, mom's there in the movie for a shoulder to cry on, you know, not just there to serve the men in the movie or the story.
Right.
So yes, this movie would absolutely fail that,
Yeah.
you know, but there's a lot of modern movies that come out all the time that would absolutely fail that.
Yes.
So, you know, we're getting better. And the fact that there's a whole webpage for it that you can go to. It's a BechdelTest.com that you can pull up a list where movies are rated, how well it actually does, and if it actually passes or not. So, you know, my inner
Yeah, it's
feminist coming
interesting.
out. So,
Well, no, it's true. It's you watch films. I just like characters. I love characters. I love dialogue. That's my
yeah.
thing. And if it doesn't have that, it really fails me. Which is funny because you look at a movie like Soap Dish and you're like, Kevin Smith is known for his dialogue, and
Yeah.
you would think, oh, but then you watch it and I'm like, it's just terrible. It's terribly written. But then Soap Dish, I was like, you know what? It was really well written because each of these characters were so defined, even down to Terry Hatcher's character, who didn't have a big role, but her character was still defined by her completely, even in the dialogue.
Hmm.
It was very small, but she had her voice, and I really respected that. in that film. It was through lines. It was really well done. It,
Yeah.
where Mallrats was all over the place and just felt scattershot. I'm gonna get ridiculed by people if they actually listen to this,
Yeah,
because a few of my
eventually
friends
you
are
will,
huge.
because it is still like a huge fan favorite.
It's a huge
People
cult
love
classic.
it. And it's
I'm really actually sad. I, I was sad watching it, going, "Wow, this is not my memory of this film."
right.
Because
But
I had a
again,
poster of it at some point or
it's from
two.
95, so we're talking 26 years later.
I don't know, but I don't really give that passes. I mean, like,
No,
I
I'm not
don't.
saying that it passes. I'm saying that your view on the movie and things and how it portrays it in the movie obviously are changing 26 years later.
Yeah, but I remember having these issues before with some of the dialogue.
Mhm.
And I remember saying that to people, like, well, and I remember going, oh my God, Jeremy Jason London and BJ is fucking character. I remember saying how much I hated him then. Now it was just intolerable. So, I mean, maybe it's just me going, how can you get $6 million to make this film, which should have been shot at 2 million, and have it be this? Like, wow. I mean, the movie bombed. If you look at the box office, it
Right. But it's picked up
bombed.
a cult following later. Well, all of his films have.
It picked up a cult following later, and I love Chasing Amy. I'm a little nervous to see that again, 'cause I remember I love Chasing Amy,
I haven't seen that one since I was probably in high school.
and I wonder if I'm going to like it again now.
Probably not. I mean, I want to say of the other movies, we've seen the second Clerks movie that you think doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And
It's so bad, Becky.
oh,
It's
okay. So
so
I'm
bad.
not saying it's good, but it does exist. You have to admit.
No, it really doesn't. In the real world, it does not exist.
Anyway,
It's so bad. Like, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Kevin Smith peaked at Chasing Amy, as far as I remember, and then everything else. When I try to watch that other girl, Jersey Girl,
oh, that
or
one.
Curly Sue, or whatever the effing movie that
It's
was,
Jersey Girl. Curly Sue is a John Hughes one. Um,
it
Jersey Girl.
was unwatchable. It was awful.
The best part is probably when J Lo dies. So, I mean that, and the little girl doing Sweeney Todd. That's probably it.
I don't even remember it. I just remember
Yeah.
going.
We
I remember
watched
being
it.
sad because I used to love Kevin Smith. I used to love Kevin Smith. He was the indie thing back in the day in Detroit,
Yeah.
and going, Jersey Girl, what the f is this numbnuts? And then Copland or Cop Out or whatever the crap was with Bruce Willis. Oh, also unwatchable. And then I still blame him for that cameo in Scream 3. So there's that. But and the movies he did, was it Tusk, which I couldn't get through,
Never seen
and
that one.
Red
He did
State,
Good
I
Little
couldn't
Honey?
get through. He did not direct it.
No, he's starring in it. Okay, I was like, wait, that
Yeah,
is
he had
not
like a little
right.
cameo or something in it.
Yeah, I was like,
And
that
then
is not right.
his movies, I mean, I liked Dogma. I mean, I don't know if I'll watch it like it now. I'm a little nervous. I remember seeing it going, I like this, even though the shit monster I thought was stupid.
Right, but
Even then,
but you go into that one knowing it's going to be stupid and it's going to mock religion and all of that.
yeah,
That.
I'm okay. But look, if you're gonna take on religion, do it smart.
Right.
And now I'm a little nervous. I haven't seen it in so long, and I'm like, I wonder watch this again if it's gonna be
Worth it.
terrible.
Right.
Well, it's gonna be terrible. My memory of it will be tainted. The shit monster, when I saw it the first time, I thought it was stupid.
Well, it is stupid, but so on that note, you let me decide the discussion today.
Oh, I did. Oh, I was gonna have one, but never mind.
No, you told me it's on me, and I get to choose what type of movies we're doing too. Yay! So, all right. So
I don't remember any of this.
You
FYI.
did.
I just
You
like to
really
point it
did,
out.
because I took a note. So
Did you take a note? What kind of note was it?
on paper. Anyway, we've discussed like the movies, like the ones being really streaming and the star power, but what about filmmakers? Like,
Mhm.
you want to go see French Dispatch and you want all this French Dispatch swag. Is that
Yes, I would like to point that out. Yes, I would like French Dispatch swag. I
anyway?
want the book. I want the cup. I want the
What book?
holder that the book goes in. The little paper, the pamphlet thing.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not happening. But um, oh, pout. Anyway,
How many
now
did you get though? You got like more
just
than
one,
one, didn't you?
just one.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Um, now is it you want to see the movie because it's a Wes Anderson movie? So is it now? Do you want to see these movies that like even Tim Burton films?
Mhm.
Is the filmmaker enough? I mean, we know they have their wins and their falls, like enough to make you go see a film.
Yes, I would rather see a director than an actor.
Okay.
So
So
like
that
if
very
let's
short
say,
and sweet discussion there, Michael.
well,
Um,
no, and if you think, okay, so think about it. Like, okay, so Wes Anderson,
yeah,
his films are all Wes Anderson movies.
yeah, he has a
They're
very distinct style.
stylized.
Yeah,
He's distinct. I enjoy him. Quentin Tarantino is very similar in that respect, where his films are very distinct. They're very stylized.
I don't
I
like
think Quentin
all of his.
Tarantino, no, I think he's more like watching homework. Like I should really watch this.
Right.
Only a couple, like Pulp Fiction is great. Kill Bill is, part one is so almost perfect in my humble opinion. I haven't seen it in a while, but I love Kill Bill. I did not like Django that much. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was also not a fan of that
I
much. It
haven't
was,
seen
I
that.
liked it. I liked it, but I don't like when I'm tired of this revisionist history bullshit. Tell me history, don't tell me revisionist history. Or otherwise, we're in a different movie. If he wrote
Right.
that with it as a different movie, okay, great. Different characters. I would have been way more into it. I
Right.
don't love those revisionist history kind of roles. That kind of like, it
And now he's
always
turned it
takes
into
me
a
out.
novel. So
Yeah, I don't, but like David Fincher, I really enjoy his work. I think he's one of the most brilliant directors because he's so methodical, and I'm not that way in life. I'm not a methodical. I can't be that methodical. I'm like more of a get it done kind of person. Um, but his is like he reminds me of a modern day Kubrick, where he will reshoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot to the point where he wants to make sure it's all pinpoint accurate. You know, I'm trying to think of other filmmakers. Tim Burton is one of those that
yeah.
I really enjoy. He's very stylized and very the same. But I I didn't see Dumbo because I couldn't do it. But otherwise, I
I
think
didn't
I've seen
hate
every
it,
Tim Burton movie. Um,
but I
so I
haven't
mean,
loved
yeah.
everything of his. But it's one of
Well,
those
like Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott. When Ridley Scott is great,
yeah.
he's great. When he's bad, oh Lord, Ridley Scott. Oh Lord,
What was his that
what are you
just
doing?
came out?
It was something, The Last Duel with Ben and
Yes.
Matt, that I couldn't. I just no.
Yeah. Mm.
I didn't like Noah. I thought it was. I mean, Alien Covenant even was a B minus at best. I liked Prometheus way more than I liked that. Like Prometheus was I actually liked it more than a lot of people. I thought I'd give it a solid B plus, even though the bad CGI. Um, so it depends.
See, and that's the
But
thing.
anyway,
Like when it comes to like Ridley Scott or some of these ones like or Scorsese, like some of the
mhm,
movies I really enjoy, but then I know there's several that I really don't. So for
right.
me, for some of them, like right now, I see everything. But like for some of the titles, it's like, no, that's not enough to pull me in right now. Tim Burton has a higher success rate for me.
Yes.
So there's a higher chance of a Tim Burton one coming out, they'll be like, yeah, all right, let's go see that. You know,
And you kind of know what you're going to get.
right.
You're going to go, even if Johnny Depp's not in it, someone's going to get sprayed with blood. Someone's going to do this. Someone's going to have this. It's going to be a little over the top. It's going to have a
Right.
fun visual look. You kind of get it. You're like, all right, cool.
I mean, and half of them will have Johnny Depp in them.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not now, but yes.
Well, yes, or Helena Bonham Carter. But
Helena Bonham Carter,
I love her
national treasure, my
so
humble
much.
opinion.
So
She's amazing. Bellatrix alone, adore her.
see, and she was in Cinderella. She played the
The Kate Blanchett one
no,
or Dumbo. I'm a Dumbo.
no. Cinderella 2015, the Disney one, wasn't that was the Tim Burton one too?
No, he didn't do Cinderella.
Are you sure?
The Kate Blanchett one.
Yes.
I don't think he did that.
No, he didn't. But she was in that. She plays the fairy
Oh,
godmother.
oh, okay. Makes
So
sense.
yeah.
If I'm gonna have a fairy godmother, it'll be either Helena Bonham Carter or Tilda Swinton. That's my fairy godmother.
Fair.
Bring it on, babies. Come on.
And my guess is you probably didn't see that version.
I think I started it and I didn't get through it.
See, I liked it, but it's, it's girly.
Those remakes of Disney classics don't do it for me either. I didn't like I saw Mulan and I thought it was embarrassing. I saw Beauty and the Beast and I thought I turned it off at a certain point. I thought it was also bad.
See,
It doesn't do it.
they're not the best. The ones that really upset me was Aladdin.
No, I couldn't. No.
The architecture was gorgeous, but and the outfits were gorgeous, but that's the culture part. And then there was the Nutcracker and the Seven Realms or whatever it was.
I saw a movie called The Nutcracker, but it really wasn't for families. And there were 7 realms.
I'm sure there were.
But Aladdin, I don't think I saw the whole thing. I think I turned it off midway through because I couldn't get through it. But I don't remember.
See, and I grew up like
or maybe I did because Will Smith was blue.
Yes, the animated one came out when I was in elementary school, and I love the Broadway version. And it's like they tried to meld the two together, and they did not do it successfully.
Robin Williams made that character his own.
You just can't.
And you can't replace him. And I like Will Smith. Don't get me wrong.
I absolutely do. But it's and his movie coming out, I think it comes out next week.
Yeah.
He does well in it, but it's not his strongest role. And the girls that are playing playing Venus and Serena just outshine him. And I'm like,
interesting, because somebody else said that too. There've been FYC screenings, and I've RSVP, and then I'm like, no.
You're right. I mean, I love Will Smith, but when 2 little girls are outshining him on the screen, granted, he could have purposely done that because it was really their story.
He didn't.
But those girls were so damn good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Anyway, so you're going to your picks. You never actually got there. So.
Oh, well, originally my goal was to get you out of the 90s.
Get you out of the 90s.
I'm trying because you're stuck in the 90s. But then if we stick with this filmmaker kind of theme, if we choose a filmmaker that one is kind of, just is iconic and is one that, he wrote my childhood, probably yours too. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Spielberg?
No, John Hughes.
Well, okay. John Hughes. Okay.
Are you going to shoot me down my topic?
No, if you want to choose John Hughes movies, that's awesome because I love John Hughes.
Right.
There's 3 movies he did that was good. That was it. Home Alone is like on the borderline. I hate that movie. But
on that note, there's another one of those coming out.
I know. Do we need another one?
We were good with 2.
We were good with none. So John Hughes made 3 good movies. He didn't even write them all. 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, and
Pretty in Pink.
Even Some Kind of Wonderful was his, but he didn't direct it. I don't think, did he direct any of them? I think he directed those 3, right? Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, and Breakfast Club.
Correct.
Some Kind of Wonderful, he came up with the story and he wrote it. Howard Deutsch directed it.
Okay.
And then he did Home Alone. He wrote it.
Useless information just up in that head of yours is amazing to me.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, and Curly Sue, he did Curly Sue. And then he just, he had a Baby's Day Out and all these really crappy movies in the 90s.
Mhm.
But his movies, his big movies were those movies. I mean, in Vacation, I think he also did the story for Vacation, the
National
script for
Lampoon's
Vacation.
Vacation.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
one. And the third one, I don't think he did European. I could be wrong.
So you're saying he did Christmas, not Vacation, no.
He did Vacation, the first one.
But he didn't do Christmas.
And he did Christmas, but I don't think he did European.
Okay.
But double check that since you have it on the computer. I can hear you clicking.
I am clicking. That's why I have so many screens. I have like 1, 2, 3. Checking to see.
But I know, I don't think I know Harold Ramis directed the first Vacation, and I don't remember who directed Christmas, but it certainly wasn't John Hughes. But I think he either wrote the original story that Vacation was based on and a script with that and Christmas. I don't think he was involved in European.
Well, I mean, just looking at his
remember.
list, I mean, you've listed a bunch of them anyhow, but I mean, like I said, most of these are like my childhood. Beethoven, Dutch, Miracle on 34th Street.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
Flubber.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, not all of them are great, but they are ones that
not
we
all
grew
of
up
them
with.
are good. Look, he had this terrible run later on.
Well,
But
yeah.
when he had the Molly Ringwald oeuvre, which I mean, I know she bagged on him, like, oh, there's so many things that are problematic. I mean,
Oh, I mean,
yes.
absolutely. So many themes are problematic, especially like now, if you look back.
Well, you look at anything. That's why we looked at Mallrats and look at all the problems, I mean, not just technical, but like a 15-year-old having sex with overage guys and lying about her age. That alone is bad because it's entrapment. And I don't even know who would be arrested for that. Like if you're underage and you lie, you tell the guy you're overage,
He
but
would
he
still
still
be
has sex
because
with
he's
you.
supposed to be able to know.
How?
I don't know, but he's the
Is it like a
adult.
tree? Is there like a tree that looks like there's like rings on the tree? Like I mean,
I don't
if
know.
you try to do your due diligence
Yeah, okay, but
and be good,
his
I mean, look,
character wouldn't have tried to do
I'm not
any due
actually
diligence.
talking about his character. I'm talking about everybody, the 39,000 people that came before him, apparently.
Right.
Like,
Could you
like
imagine?
the old guy in the end, the LaFours, the whole thing was he that was cut out, he actually started dating her. And then the book came out. That's why at the end, when you see him kiss her, that's why.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
So I mean,
then you look at Pretty, and I mean, 16 Candles, Long Duck Dong alone with the
right. Oh my
chopsticks they
gosh.
play.
But
I mean,
if it's easy to say these things looking back with today's lenses.
back then it wasn't like that.
It was, I mean, if you even look at like Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Who was it that played Asian? Oh my gosh.
Oh yes.
But yeah. Anyway, all of it, you know what I mean? So it's like, you wouldn't do that now. And not that I think you should censor any of the films. I think they should be shown as they are. But
Mickey Rooney?
Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. Wasn't that who it was?
I believe
Mickey Rooney played Mr. Unioshi.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Long Duck Dong and the cultural things there, and I mean, this was
right.
the 80s?
Yeah, that was mid 80s.
Right. You would think we would have been better, but I mean, we were there. It wasn't that much better.
No.
So
it was the 80s. All right. Oh, so if we're gonna pick John Hughes, that's perfectly fine. I will choose Pretty in Pink because I love that movie.
All right. I will hold off.
You're gonna pick something crappy. You're gonna pick. I can tell it's gonna be like, oh,
I will hold off
Christmas Flubber is amazing
for later.
Oh, Flubber is just the best movie of all time.
Your choices. I will give you a choice.
I picked Pretty in Pink. Oh, your choice for you. Okay.
I will give you two that I'm between.
Yes.
Other than my cat crying out the door. Breakfast Club or Ferris?
I love them both.
I know. And it's so funny. Ferris is one that I never saw all the way through up until a few years ago. Every time like I'm traveling and it comes on TV, if I turn it on, it's always at the same point. Like I always turned it on at the same spot. And I was like,
Yeah,
I'm missing like the beginning half of this movie. So I made a
it's
point a
so
few years
good.
ago to sit down and watch it. Because I was like, for crap's sake, you know?
Right? All right, let's do Ferris. It's a little bit different and doesn't have Molly Ringwald in it.
Okay. 16 candles, right? Is that what you said?
No, Pretty in Pink.
I'm just changing it as we go. Pretty in
I
pink.
mean, honestly, you could pick any of those four. I actually, when I said he did three movies, I forgot about Ferris. I forgot he did that.
And you said Ferris, correct?
Yeah, 'cause I love Ferris.
All right. So at least this way, it's coming from the same filmmaker. At least we would have some hopeful commonalities and things that we can discuss about them.
Commonality. I want to discuss the commonalities. Oh, I'm in the Detroit Film Critics Society. I want to dissect. So horrible.
Seeing as there is a box right there behind
Let me
me
tell you,
with something that you want in it.
it is, and I don't suck up though for it
There.
until I need to.
I know, but then you're just being a butt. So
Yeah. Welcome to Friday.
apparently.
Friday. No, I think it's gonna be fun. I actually, we can talk about more about all the John Hughes films that we know and care about too, because that's also it's an important thing because John Hughes is one of the most important seminal filmmakers of so many people's childhood.
Yeah.
And he's really, really talented. I just wish he wouldn't have gone down the road of these crappy films like Flubber and Dutch and Curly Sue
Beethoven.
and Home Alone. Home Alone, I guess you can give a
I
pass.
don't
But
hate as much as you do, but I think it's
it
because
just,
of the age difference. Like I was at that age, it was, the other ones like Breakfast Club and that I didn't see till much later because those were out when I was pretty little. So
he didn't pull the chain on the elephant lamp. Oh, it's brilliant.
anyway, so you're happy with those choices?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, good. So that will be next week, and then we'll have our week off for Thanksgiving,
Yes.
and then we'll come
So
back
all
with
four of you listening, including you, Grandma, suck it up. You're
Grandma
gonna miss
from
a
the
week
beyond.
from the
bless.
beyond.
All right. So that is it for today, and we will, I guess, see or be here next week. They'll only see us if they follow us on YouTube. But otherwise, you can find us on pretty much every software that you can download your podcast from.
And tell your friends to listen, especially if they have insomnia. They can definitely listen to this and it will cure it.
Or if they're like Michael's grandmother and dead, they might still enjoy it. So
as long as they click.
That's right. All right. That's it for today. Bye.
Bye.